Hi, everybody. Welcome into today's show here on JTV. It is Wednesday. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency and Pataki Orthodontics. I'm David Rice. That's Adam. Still really cold, tired. It's Wednesday. Still a couple more days left in the week. It's one of those days, man.
Feels like it.
Yeah. Starting to get to the really busy part of the schedule with the year, with boys districts coming up and girls after that with boys regionals, and then after that, by the time everybody comes back from spring break and vacations and whatnot, then it'll be baseball time.
Yeah, and we just wrapped on basketball.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do our final game. So I was disappointed by that. Because I watched most of the second half, and it was a decent game right up until about 4 minutes left or 5, and then Concord really started to pull away.
Yeah, it was impressive when Springport came back and cut it within, I think it was like a 3 or 4 point game for a little bit. So that got a little exciting, but good win for Concord.
Yeah. 56-47, so we'll have those highlights coming up later in the show. High school basketball and girls Western won the I-8 conference, officially defeating Coldwater on Tuesday at home, and the boys got a big win over Coldwater. Coldwater is now one game back of the three teams that have a three-way tie for first place in the I-8 conference. If Coldwater would have beat Western, there would have been a four-way tie, and Western would have been second, but then, of course, fifth by the time it would have been a four-way tie. And then, of course, Concord boys won their second meeting versus Springport by 9, and Columbia girls officially clinching the Cascades West. Very good game yesterday, 51-48 versus Jonesville, and that means they will officially play Grass Lake Saturday at Spring Arbor for the Cascades Conference Championship. And the third place game, also same thing as the boys, Michigan Center versus Hanover Horton. And coming up tomorrow night, Thursday, Lumen boys will play at Kalamazoo College. They're going to be taking on Niles Brandywine, the defending D3 state champions. Very tough game for them. Other than Riverview, Richard, the toughest game they'll play in a long time for Lumen. So we'll actually have somebody at Kalamazoo College, and we'll have photos from that online at jtv.tv. So Grass Lake Columbia boys and girls, and third place Center versus Hanover as well. And at halftime, they will announce the all-conference for the girls, so we'll have that coming up on Monday's show. And high school hockey regionals kicked off yesterday in Division I. Jackson United season ended in a 6-2 loss to Tri-Valley as Coach Grimes and JU finished the 2024-5 campaign at 9-17. And Lumen Christi will have their regional results coming up on Monday's show. So United won a few decent games this year, but really, when you play in a tough conference and you also play a state contender like Jackson Lumen Christi, it's can't get any more difficult than that.
And you got to play them twice.
Yeah, not only you got to play them, but you got to play them twice.
Right.
So, also coming up this weekend, Saturday, competitive cheer regionals, Michigan Center hosting D4 Saturday morning. We'll have photos from that Saturday afternoon on our website. Leslie, Jonesville, Vandercook, and Hanover will be at Michigan Center. And Michigan Center, the Cardinals going to Heartland for D3 at 5 o'clock on Saturday. And in baseball news, Michigan baseball news that's locally related, 2024 Napoleon graduate and freshman pitcher for the Wolverines baseball team, Grant Bradley, off to a great start so far this year for the Wolverines. He was named the preseason Big Ten Freshman of the Year just a couple of weeks ago, and he pitched a couple days ago in Michigan's huge upset win in Puerto Rico earlier this week versus number 2 in the country, Virginia. And Michigan went 4-0 to start the year in Puerto Rico. So great for Grant Bradley. And, I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of college baseball, but we have a few local players from Michigan, so gotta watch them.
And they're looking good. They beat Villanova down there 19-0, so they're looking.
Yeah, I'd say
good.
they were pretty good then.
Yeah.
So it was it's cool to see. Not just at high up colleges like that, but all of our athletes. Even we did a couple JC basketball games and local athletes there. At Concordia, Saginaw, Grand Valley. So we'll have photos from the cheer. We'll have highlights from the basketball photos and photos from Lumen basketball at Kalamazoo tomorrow night. So a lot coming up again on Monday's show. So coming up later in today's show, high school bowling postseason kicks off tomorrow, Thursday. Plus, in NFL news, I just saw this right before we came on the air. The NFL is raising the salary cap. I'm not sure effective when, but I will check on that during the commercial break. But they're raising the salary cap, and it's funny that the Chargers released Joey Bosa this morning due to cap space, and then they just raised the salary cap. So
I'd be curious to find out when, like you said, when that's going to come into effect, because I doubt that's like an immediate thing. That seems like something that would have to be a few years in advance just to make everything else, to adjust everything else,
Right.
Well, Lions are going to need that, so I'm all for it.
Yeah, there's going to be a few teams that need that. And there's a lot of big names that'll be free agents in football. Joey Bosa, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Aaron Rodgers. Could he go to the Raiders? Could he go to the Steelers?
Or not play at all.
Or retire?
Like my theory.
Or pull a Brett Favre and go to the Vikings?
That would be hilarious. I doubt that's going to happen, but
I would hope not.
I would love for him to have that same path.
I don't want Aaron Rodgers to torch Green Bay 2 times next year. Because he's still Aaron Rodgers, and I don't want to play him. So, also Michigan State basketball, big win over Purdue Tuesday night. Michigan MSU coming up on Friday, and a lot to get to. So, plus Tiger spring training starts this weekend, and the first game on TV is Sunday.
I'm excited. I'll be watching.
I will be watching as well.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to get to, and we will get to Concord and Springport and show you some of the highlights when we come back here on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. Our final live basketball game for the 2024-25 season happened on Tuesday night out at Concord. Matt Kibbe on the broadcast called it one of the best small-town gyms you'll find anywhere.
His call was great, by the way. He does a great job.
Yeah. I was disappointed I wasn't able to be there with the rest of the crew. Not too much insider info, but I was slated to be on the Thursday game.
And now that's not happening, so that was
and
it.
now that's not happening.
Yep.
So I was hoping to witness Grass Lake finish the perfect season on Thursday night. There's no way they don't win. They're playing 6-14, Clinton. Or 6 and something, but
did you just jinx them?
No.
Okay, I hope not.
No.
You said there was no way, so
there is no way. If there's one team that's gonna beat them, it would have been Columbia,
right?
And it ended up being a 1-point game. No, the next team that has a chance to beat them, or I think will beat them, will be in the regionals in Ithaca. Now, whether that's in the semifinal on Tuesday or the regional final on Thursday, we will not see that team at the Breslin Center.
Well, we're pulling for them, though.
Oh, of
I'll
course.
let you know that.
Of course.
I'm definitely pulling for them. That'd be an awesome.
And as an
that'd
alumni,
be awesome for them to do.
Alumnus, actually, Noah corrected me on that. Alumnus. Pulling for them. But just once you get out of your conference and out of your district, and how it happens in most teams here, boys and girls teams, you play at Detroit or in Ann Arbor or a big Lansing school. And those are where most of those D1 to recruits come from, and collegiate recruits. There's just not, it's a challenge. So, and we've seen that with, besides football, we've seen that in girls and boys basketball for Lumen last year. And, I think it's going to be a step back for both Lumen basketball. They've got a really tough game Thursday against Brandywine, and then they're going to have to play Grass Lake if it all lines up in the district final. So football and basketball next year, and baseball, really, are going to be a very different look for them.
Interesting, yeah.
So I'm not sure what to expect, but we still have a little bit, way to go before
That's
that.
right. That's right.
But back to Concord, because we went way off.
Yeah, I don't know what happened
We
there.
did a weave thing.
Well,
there.
I will say this about that Springport Concord game. There was a block and a dunk in that game. I can't remember who it was by, but it was so sick.
Tucker Winged.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was so sick. So definitely people who are watching, watch out for that in the highlights.
Yeah, right away that was their pick for the play of the game.
Oh, I
that
get
sequence
it.
there.
I get it.
I think Pat jumped right out of his seat when that happened. But no, it was a great game, and photos from that game, too, on our website. And thanks to All Season, the Minuteman Sewer and Drain, SMBT, the Insurance Circle, MVP Sports Store, and all of our great sponsors for helping us bring you. We had a great season of live games. We had a couple doubleheaders at Jackson College. The last one we had was a great men's game, and they got the win, much needed for them, much deserved. We had a Lumen Christi doubleheader this year, Grass Lake doubleheader, and let's see, we had Columbia 2 times. Great game. 2 games at Northwest, both heartbreakers for them.
Yeah, but they hung in there, and a lot of people weren't thinking that Northwest was going to be hanging
Even
in
in
those
it.
games. You're right, and then they were in it right at the very end, so they did a great job.
And it's even more shocking looking back at it because they played they lost by 40-something to the team that's last in their conference in Northwest, is 1 or 2 games above them. They played Hastings and lost to them by 40-something.
How'd that happen? How does that happen?
And then they
in
only
Georgia?
lost to Columbia by 7 and Lumen by 5 or 7, whatever it was.
Basketball's a weird sport.
It is. That's
It's
fair.
real weird.
You never know what could happen Friday at Chrysler.
Yeah.
Michigan State got the huge win over Purdue, and then hopefully they get stomped on by Michigan Friday.
That'd be nice.
That would be great.
Got to at least win the one in Chrysler. Got to win the one at home.
Right. And if not, then steal it from them at the Breslin
That's right.
Center. So, but Concord Springport to wrap up our live season here on JTV. And if you missed the broadcast, here are a few highlights from Tuesday night.
To basically a slam dunk show in the pregame warm-up. See if we get any in the game.
Time now for high school basketball on JTV Sports. The Spartans and the Yellow Jackets off and underway.
They have to get through Stevens.
Errant pass goes the way of Darrell Dean Jr., and he'll get the first basket of the game.
Nice job by Dean in transition.
And the answer on the other side is Wingington.
Get up and down the floor.
Back over to Smith on the right wing. Deep 3. Splash!
Watch out. It's the Minuteman Sewer and Drain three-pointer for Jet Smith. If he gets hot, I'm telling you.
Connor Stevens, and now Jet Smith is going to go right to the hole. He's got 5.
He's feeling it. Look at an early timeout. You see the advantage, Jet. Get a rhythm going offensively. A lot of credit to that Yellow Jacket defense. There you see it. There's another tip away.
Darrell Dean Jr. has his second basket.
To find an answer down here at this end, they've got to take better care of the ball. That's a nice look.
That floater is good. Taken away by Darrell Dean Jr. He's going to go coast to coast. Wants to create havoc. Gets it knocked away and then puts it right back up. 13-4, still a 9-point lead. Chance to extend it with the three. That one is good for Tyler.
Possible plans, BarkerWeberInsurance.com.
Another drive here for Springport. This is Wigington, and now it's going to fall. That's a big basket. Gavin Risky, and then it's taken away by Springport, so nothing goes of the turnover. Springport can reset. 3-ball by Hilgemere, and it is good. Over with Gibson has it. Gibson gave it back off, and then that one off of the leg, and passed up to Jet Smith for the left-handed lay-in. It's good. He's got 7. Nettleton gets it back over to Dean Jr. Back into the middle for Stevens. That's an easy one. He throws it up at the hoop, and 22-15 is our score. Stevens again, and he is starting to heat up. That is
awesome.
right.
I love coaching middle school. And I had Austin as a 7th grader. And then, but I didn't coach my 8th grade, what I would call maybe the greatest performance of any player I've ever had in my history of coaching. And I'm not lying.
And you've been around forever.
I've been around forever.
Big three-pointer.
You know,
there.
he had, and I'm not lying, he had like 30.
That's a coach right
flaw.
there. You're a coach. You're a coach right
The only
there.
flaw that whole night.
Nice
Great
start here by
great
Springport.
performance, but he was, you know, in all seriousness, we made Austin way up there. Matter of fact, I think when he got his start, he was interested in this.
Really quickly here, it is 37-22. Couple of quick threes for Concord, and now a takeaway for Shoemaker, and he'll slam it down on the other end.
See if that gets the Spartans going.
How is 4?
Dealing with it.
I
Yeah,
think
4
it's-
turnovers.
I think sometimes it's like, look
at that.
It's like basketball IQ stuff, you know.
Aaron, the entire Holly family does. That's a big bucket.
What a crazy finish from Darrell. Holmes had it sent back. Fadeaway jumper, hits off the side, but the rebound for Bohm is good, and that's exactly why you put your big man down low. It's to gather in Concord, Michigan. Kick out for Jet Smith, who's been on fire, and he continues that streak with another 3. He's got 18. Brady Garrett. Garrett has to swing it to the left side, and now down low to Stevens. This is where they've been trying to get it to, and it finally works out. He's got 8.
What a possession by...
And they did cross over just in the nick of time.
Oh, look at that.
Stevens drives, and then it's blocked by Wigington. He'll go the other way. Down!
Oh, are you kidding me? And then...
So you need to find a basket here. Fadeaway jumper doesn't go, and that's the way that this game has gone for Springport with 10 seconds left. We'll see if they let this clock wind out. Stevens has it, and there's a quick foul. No, they didn't call it, so now that will do it. 56-47, our final score. Concord takes care of business and gets redemption on Springport. Coach, as we get ready for you here in your 6th season at the helm, this was a game that you really wanted to have against Springport after the loss earlier this season. What does it mean to you and your squad to get this one?
I mean, it's another game for us. So, yeah, Springport, we was looking forward to playing them and get our rematch. You know, I tell our guys all the time, basketball is a good thing about basketball. It's not like football. We don't have to wait till next year. We get them again. They come to our place. We got to be ready to go, and I thought we were ready to go tonight.
What a first quarter you had. You guys jumped out to the big lead. I think it was 16-4 at one point. Offensively, you were getting shot after shot right at the rim. Is that your guys' strategy coming in, or?
Yeah, we knew how important it was to get off to a great start. I talked a lot about getting off to a great start. The first 4 minutes of the first quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third quarter are really getting after them and trying to execute our offense at a high level. I thought we did that in the first quarter, not so much in the second half. We played hard, but I'm just disappointed in the way we took care of the ball today. We didn't do a good job of taking care of the ball.
There was one player that did do fairly well with the ball, and that was Jet Smith. He had a team-high 22 points. What do you like out of your kind of almost secondary players? Because everybody comes into a game expecting to have to stop Connor Stevens, but when Jet Smith gets going, it's hard to stop him.
Well, we came into the season thinking Jet Smith was going to be our number one option. We started to play a little bit inside out, and Jet has become more of a facilitator, but he can score. Like, the dude is wired to score. And he hadn't scored it at a high level all year, but he's going to have some games where he goes off for 20, 25, 30.
I thought Jet did a great job of sharing the ball as well. He's such a tough cover. You know, when he hit the couple three-pointers, they come out on him. He can get by that first defender so easily. And then I was impressed with his ability to find and get his teammates involved as well.
And that's the key to our team, man. Like, we know what we're going to get from Stevens every single night. And when Jet Smith is playing well and distributing the ball and scoring, we're tough. We're going to tough beat, and we're going to be a tough out in the state tournament.
You mentioned that state tournament. Get districts here with a young team that you're building. You got to be excited for districts coming up.
We're excited about it. We done been through some stuff as a team this year that no other team has went through. I know we had a tragedy with the loss of one of our assistant coaches, and we battled through that tough time together. But I told our guys, we're going to come out on the other end of it, and we're going to be stronger for it later. And that's why we can battle and figure out a way to win these tough games. And we're ready for this state tournament this year. We're playing our best basketball at the right time.
Playing for something more than just the state title here, Coach. Thank you, Coach, for joining us here in the postgame. Congratulations on the win.
Hey, thank you guys for coming. We always
Coach.
appreciate y'all.
Congrats.
Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency and Pataki Orthodontics. A great smile. Always in style with Pataki and Grass Lake, Hillsdale, and Coldwater. You know, by the way, first, two things. One, thanks to Marcus Gill, the Concord coach, for chatting with us post-game. Appreciate it. I know it's always a pleasure for him and Matt Lehman and the Concord staff to have us out there. Number two, Monday's episode was number 50. I just thought of this and we forgot to mention that.
It was 50
on Monday. Yeah, thank you. Our studio audience that we have in this
massive
closet
studio
here.
Audience in this massive studio.
Yeah, in this tape closet.
Used to be, it's a podcast studio now.
That's right. But no, thanks to Pataki, and definitely thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency for 50 episodes. You know, it doesn't really, it might sound cliche, it doesn't really feel like 50 episodes, to be honest with you. Because looking back, thinking about it, I'm like, wow, we really prepped to do this show 50 times.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It felt like more. You know what I mean?
It felt like more.
I don't know.
You're like, aren't we at 100 by now?
Well, let's see. We started, end of July? Mid-July?
Yeah, it was
something around there.
Yeah. I mean,
the first couple episodes were Media Day.
That's right. Those were cool, and we'll definitely do something like that again because I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Got us out of the podcast studio. I saw one of the first episodes. I was going back looking through the logs and seeing all the old ones, and it was just like, boy, did it look different in here. We've definitely made changes even just real quickly through those first few episodes to get it to kind of how it is right now. So
Yeah, and, you know, we had a lot more guests on to begin with than we have recently, but don't worry. We will have Coach Trope from Lumen in a couple weeks. More details on that soon, leading up to the All-Star games. And then, of course, baseball season coming up. So anybody who watched our live baseball and the on-deck discussion will have new ones. We'll show previous ones, but we will have new ones as well. So, and we'll have Max.
I was
Fritz.
about to say, we're going to have Max on too. Once he's able to find a little bit of time to get him here, it'll be perfect. So,
yeah,
looking forward to it.
That'll be coming up, I believe, a week or two after Coach Trope. And, definitely one of the best episodes, I think. Dan Gallagher.
I knew you were going to say that.
And Pat O'Dowd.
Yeah, because we let them just go crazy. We're going to have to have
just
them in
left,
again.
and those two could have just talked themselves.
Just the banter between the two. We're going to have to get them back, I think. We'll have to plan something.
For sure. We've had Andy on the show.
Yep.
Even for some reason, Noah Baker and Austin made appearances on.
Yeah, because we had to talk about the trailer
show.
and stuff. That was, I think, your first guest that we had in here. That was one of the first few episodes.
That was the pilot show,
And
right?
it was that too. Well, yeah, that never aired though. Nobody wants to see that. I mean, we were down in Bart's. We were in Bart's
we can't
studio
show
for
that.
Yeah, no. It was, oh yeah.
We can't show that on
no,
TV.
No, but
that was a great episode to film, though.
for sure.
So, but 50 episodes, so thanks to everybody who's watched and listened and supported. And of course, again, if you missed those highlights and photos, are on our website as well. So, other high school sports news: bowling postseason kicks off tomorrow, Thursday, with Regionals Division II at 10 Pins Alley in Tecumseh. J High, Northwest, and Western in D2. D3, hosted by Lansing Catholic at Royal Scott Lanes in Lansing, Columbia, Grass Lake Center, Napoleon and Stockbridge in here. Locally at Jack 60, Addison, EJ, Hanover, Lumen, Leslie, Vandercook, and Manchester. So we will have all the bowling and cheer and all the results from the regionals this weekend on our website and in the Center for Family Health daily scoreboard. Well, in NFL news, the NFL just announced today that they are raising the salary cap. We don't know when that's going to go into effect, but the LA Chargers, due to cap space, what a coincidence, that they will be releasing Joey Bosa, and that's just the next big star in the NFL, adding to the list of free agents for the spring and summer. Joey Bosa, Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, and Aaron Rodgers. So the list just gets bigger and bigger for these free agents now. Will Devontae come back to the green and gold? I hope so. I think Green Bay's definitely at the top of his list. Different social media posts, just different, sometimes you look at weird conspiracy theories and you see different like pieces of the puzzle start to, form together. Okay, that makes sense now. Some of his posts and different things he's said kind of connect the dots.
You are looking into it.
I am. Well, we need him. We don't have a have a receiver. One.
I mean, would you rather have him or would you rather have T. Higgins?
I'd rather have T. Higgins, but the chances of getting him are very, very slim.
Yeah. What about Godwin?
Over Devontae?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Godwin's a baller, man.
I know.
And I don't mean
and
to
it'd be great to have him.
Yeah.
As far as over Devontae Adams, I'm not sure.
Right. And just for, same thing like, do the Tigers need JD Martinez? Probably not. Probably shouldn't take on a contract like that, but sentimental.
And he's a little older.
Yeah, but like sentimental favor, it's like, he was awesome. So it's like, of course I'd want him back in the old English D. So I know that's what you're feeling with Devontae as well.
Yeah, but I still think he has a couple good years left.
Yeah.
We just didn't see as much potential or his peak continuing to increase or go up because he played for the Raiders, and the Raiders suck.
And then the Jets.
Well, and then the Jets, and they also suck. So, same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Is he on the back 9 of his, more like the back 4 or 3? Obviously, yes. But just like I said on one of the shows last week, if you look at his numbers and you look at some of the actual highlights and not low-life plays of the Jets season, he's still a bad man. I'm just saying. Nobody wants to play him. Anybody, I take that back, almost anybody would be lucky to have a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion MVP like him. So
well, we'll see if any teams go after him. I mean, there's going to be only a few teams that are going to really need to go after a quarterback, so we'll see.
Does he pull a Brett? I have a few teams written out. Does he pull a Brett Favre and go to the Vikings?
I don't think so. I think that they're going to run with JJ probably. I mean, if he's going to be ready for the start of next season, I'll say, then yeah, I'll say that he does not go there. My thinking, real quick, is probably if he's going to go to a team, it's probably going to be Vegas. But I'm still leaning towards not. But I would say Vegas would be the only team that I could really see him going to.
I would eliminate the Vikings because we don't know what's happening there.
They
To
could
really
re-sign
be
him.
honest with you, because are they going to give Darnold the bag for a year or two?
They could
or
re-sign him.
could they franchise tag him
Yeah.
and do a year deal at however
And just
many
figure it
million?
out. Figure out if JJ's going to be the guy or not.
Yeah. But also the problem is you don't want to tag him and then JJ's ready to go by week 4, 5, 6, and then you want to play him, but you're still paying Darnold that much money for 1 year. So, Darnold, JJ, Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones won't start, but he'll be the quarterback too, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
But he is starter capable. Is he very good? No, he's garbage. But
Yeah, he'll be 2 unless they tag Darnold. Because if they tag Darnold for a year,
then he'll be 3.
then he'll be 3 because then you'll just be running. But I just don't see them
A
doing
starter
that.
level quarterback at QB 3.
I just don't. Yeah, I just don't. Starter. I know what you mean, but it's just he does not looked great.
He's a former starter.
100%. Yeah,
He's not good.
And a high draft pick as well.
That was a waste of a draft pick.
Yeah, that was interesting when they did that. I was
Yeah.
very confused.
You talk about top bad draft picks. Looking back at it years later, at least in football, Daniel Jones. In recent years,
Yeah.
that haven't worked out. Daniel Jones. I'm drawing a blank here.
I'm trying to think of, I don't know, recent bust. I don't know why Clelin Ferrell, remember when he was drafted like really early? Like that was like
Yeah.
the Raiders, like one of their early picks, and they drafted him, and everybody was like, who? Like he wasn't on
Who?
like he was like second, third round grade. So I remember that being weird. But it was the same thing with Danny Dimes. I felt like he was kind of a whoa, like because I forgot. I think at the time it was Dwayne Haskins was like the next quarterback that they
Rest
thought,
in peace, Dwayne
yeah,
Haskins.
that they thought it was going to be, and then they went with Danny Dimes. That kind of shocked everyone.
So Minnesota, I think, is pretty much out here. Now, a team I've seen popping up more and more around different, news feeds, rumor mills, sources, the Steelers, which I thought was very interesting, and we talked about it briefly earlier. We had a discussion with David Barker about it. You have Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. They're going to get rid of one of those two quarterbacks.
Well, I guess both of their contracts are up. So if they're going to hold on to one of them, they got to decide. So I guess with that being said, they could go after another quarterback instead.
Now, are the Steelers, I think it was you that brought this up earlier, though, or maybe it was David, but the Steelers, are they really just continuing to keep going towards, just winning record, get in the playoffs, but then do nothing and lose in the first round? Or do they actually want to take that step, pick up a few big pieces, and actually try to put something together to win a playoff game and do something?
Yeah, I mean, that was Dave that said that. And it's like, I agree with him to an extent. I mean, I think this year, that was a quarterback upgrade for them compared to previous years when they were trotting out, who was it? It was Kenny Pickett, and then it was Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett, and then it was Rudolph
Mitch
and all those guys.
Trubisky,
Yeah, all those guys were just
Hodges.
like those two quarterbacks were an upgrade for them.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
So are they going to try to upgrade one more time, skip those two guys and go after a bigger talent? Or are they going to invest in offensive line, invest in maybe another running back, some receivers? I think they have a lot of places they could go. They're going to have $60 million in cap space. So that's something. So they can't.
Well, and you
target
have
some
to
stuff.
get rid of one of those two quarterbacks because both of them are, Russell Wilson, he's a debatable Hall of Famer. And Justin Fields is a great starter. Fields started the year because Wilson was hurt, and they started the year okay. They were doing good. And then Wilson comes back, and they just throw Fields away and make him the backup and just put Russell Wilson in. And to be honest with you, they got worse as the season went on. And then they get killed by the Ravens in the first round.
So do you think if they keep somebody of the two, they'll keep Fields? Is that what you're thinking?
I would hope that I would rather keep Fields than Wilson if I'm Pittsburgh. If it was a different team, it'd be a different
And you go with
story.
youth as well. I mean, we're talking about age here as well. And I think that
Because Wilson's 30, probably 30, 3, 4, something like that.
Well, and then it's like I don't know. It's like on top of that too. I just feel like who's going to give you the better chance of winning? I don't know. I feel like those are the reason I felt like either of them could go is just like, Russ, he has that proven in him. I think he still could do it when he's with the right team. But it's like, where does it go?
But he's also older. He's dealt with a few more injuries,
Yeah.
which happens when you get older. But Fields also has that running ability with the
he's
quarterback
great.
as well. So you pair him with Harris and Warren at running back. You've got Pickens as a wide receiver, Freiermuth, who's a decent tight end. That's really not a bad team. Now, I'm not saying you plant Wilson in there and they're 100 times worse, but they got worse as the season went on. When Wilson came back and he was healthy, they were doing great to start the year with Fields, and they just threw him away and made him the backup and put in Wilson.
How about this? This is what I'm saying maybe happens. I'll give you my hot take. Darnold will go to the Steelers is what I'm thinking.
Ooh, okay.
Thinking they'll get a deal done with him.
And then
They'll get
JJ
him.
starts for the Vikings.
And then I think they go out and get a receiver to pair with him as well. I think a DeAndre Hopkins probably couldn't afford Diggs, but I think Diggs would be very interesting. I think they get one more piece, especially if they
Is
bring in a
Hopkins
Darnold.
only on a 1-year deal with Kansas
Yep.
City? Okay.
He's up. Diggs is up. There was a few Mari Cooper, Hollywood Brown. There's enough, but Najee's also up.
Okay.
So are they going to need a running back? So there's a few things there.
Are they going to have to pay him? Are they going to have to pay one of their two quarterbacks? Or do they go with Darnold? Or do they want a receiver with Pickens?
I think the Steelers might have one of the more interesting off seasons because their team might be changing.
And a lot of
quite
people
a
aren't
bit.
talking about their offseason. I've heard nobody else really talk about what they're going to do.
With how good their defense is, you really can. If you change a few things with that offense, you really could become a contender with getting some good extra pieces. But it all starts at quarterback.
More than just a winning record, and you get to the playoffs and
Right.
lose in the first round. But Joey Bosa will be released by the Chargers. There's several teams who need another edge rusher. Now the Lions don't really. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to have him.
Be sick.
They don't really need him. They have a guy named Aiden Hutchinson who, if he didn't get hurt, he was going to be defensive
And
player of the year.
Zadarius.
Oh, and Zadarius Smith.
We got him for one more year, so you have him on the other edge. And he was a terror at the end of the year. He was playing great, so you hope that you get that on one side, Hutch on the other. It's going to be almost an unstoppable line with McNeil in the middle as well. So, fingers crossed.
Well, and we talked about it earlier, too. In a few years, the Lions situation is going to be interesting because, Goff's already paid now. So is Amon-Ra.
You're going to pay Gibbs.
You're going to have to pay Gibbs. You're going to have to pay Hutch. Branch,
yeah.
Kirby. What are they going to do with J-Mo?
Man, he'll probably go. He's fun to have, but he'll probably be out of here. Unfortunately, he'll get a bag somewhere. I'll tell you that. He'll a lot of teams
because
are
of the
looking at
money
him as
situation.
awesome.
If he gets into trouble again,
Yeah, but I almost don't even want to look at that. I almost think that just based on what maybe you can look at his past and just being like, all right, that's a little bit of baggage added onto it. But I think him going to a team like, I hate to say this, but him going to a team like San Fran, they would love to be able to have somebody like that. So
right. And who knows, real quick before we get back to Debo, speaking of San Fran, I mean, what's going to happen with San Fran besides Debo? The quarterback play wasn't good this year. McCaffrey keeps getting hurt every year. What are they going to do with him? What are they going to do with some of the older veterans that are still okay, but that they have on defense? The Niners are going to be interesting the next couple of years, too. If they have another bad year, do they blow it up and break up the band?
what do you think?
I think you have to. I think you got to kind of, start that transition period that the Lions had for a couple of years. You draft these younger guys, bring in a new staff, really restart and try to build it up again because, it just now it's only 1 year, so maybe it's too much of an assumption. Maybe get him another year or two. But Brock Purdy was horrible this year. McCaffrey keeps getting hurt. Is he the best running back in the league when he's healthy and he's playing great? Well, top 3. But
I think you could argue one, and I'm the biggest Derrick Henry fan, but I mean, McCaffrey's just unreal. I mean, we watched him kill Detroit. I mean, he looked awesome.
But what are you going to do with McCaffrey? I would get rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I get that.
it's one of those tough business decisions where you're really good, obviously, but we're not going to pay somebody that's going to play till week 7 or 8 and get hurt and he's done for the year, which has happened several times already, Carolina and San Fran. So,
yeah.
Debo, he's going to be looking for a trade now with the Niners. There's a couple teams who need, some receiver. You mentioned the Steelers. Debo with whoever at quarterback.
Yeah, and I think he's going to want to try to find a trade partner that's in a very appealing spot, like a Kansas City or a Buffalo. Buffalo's going to be missing out on some
That'd
receivers.
be ridiculous. Kansas City adding Debo Samuel to it.
Usually teams that still want to contend and are coming out of a Super Bowl loss add a big piece to try to put themselves over the top again. So I could totally see him going to a really good team, and specifically Kansas City. I think there's a few options, but Debo's going to want to pick a contender. Buffalo no longer has what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. I think I said it earlier. Receiver, whatchamacallit? Amari Cooper.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
Amari
mentioned
Cooper.
They're losing Amari Cooper, so that could be a thing. Texans are losing Diggs. That could be a thing. So there's multiple places, I think, that are contenders that just lost one guy, Cincinnati. How crazy would that be on Cincinnati? So we'll see where he ends up going, but he's got to find somebody to trade to. I think he wants out of there.
Right. There's a couple receivers who, big receivers who are on the market. Green Bay is looking for a wide receiver 1. I've already mentioned several times. I think Devontae, I'm confident that he's going to come back to Green Bay. But if he doesn't, just saying, Green Bay doesn't have a lot of guys that they're paying big right now. I'm just saying, either Devontae Adams or you get Debo Samuel in the green and gold. That'd be nice to have next to... We don't have any other receivers. He's next to nobody.
I have a weird feeling that if they find a trade partner, obviously San Fran's going to have to approve it. I just think San Fran's going to want them to trade him to an AFC team. I don't think they want to, trade him to anybody in the NFC.
Well, I don't think San Fran would have to worry about it because they're not making the playoffs anytime soon anyways.
Yeah, but tell that to them.
Well, right. I know they wouldn't look at it but just from a fan's perspective,
right.
They suck. They're not making the playoffs anytime soon anyways, and their team's going to implode in the next couple of years.
Because I think Washington would be a sick fit for him.
Ooh, with McLaurin.
Yeah, with F1 out there. Ooh.
Yeah.
Gosh.
McLaurin, Ertz, Zacchaeus, Noah Brown.
I think that would be sick, but I just feel like he's going to go AFC. So right now I'll say Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cincinnati. Those are my 3 teams that I think he'll go to.
Max Crosby is still being talked about. Some people, for some reason, I think that window's starting to close on a lot of people, but some people still think Max Crosby can end up in the Honolulu Blue, and that's not.
I don't think so, and I don't think he's going anywhere right now. I think we're going to go into this next season with him still on the Raiders. I think this conversation is going to be again happening at the trade deadline because he's not going to probably re-sign a contract with them. So again, it's going to be like, oh, could we ship him over there? Especially with the Raiders, I don't think they're going to be anything special.
Oh, and real quick here, what about Myles Garrett? Because
he's got one more year left, I think, as well.
Right, but I think that he's looking for a trade.
Yeah, I mean, we might have that same conversation. It's going to be those 2 players, I think, again, at the free agency. I don't know necessarily if they're going to be thinking Detroit's way. They might be thinking other teams' way at that point. But
well, and the Browns are in an even worse situation than the Niners are, or the Raiders, because, as far as their running back situation, Ford's okay, but they don't.
Cleveland's is just terrible. It's just terrible.
Jerry Jeudy, who's a great young receiver, but who does he have with them? Oh, and the biggest story with them, besides Myles Garrett, what's going to happen at quarterback?
Yeah.
Is Deshaun Watson going to actually ever come back? Will we see him again ever?
What a nightmare of a team. What a nightmare to be a fan of that team. I mean, I heard this stat.
They were okay for a couple years, and now they're back to...
Yeah, I mean, remember with Baker, and they were starting to look promising.
They made the playoffs?
Yeah, I heard this stat, and it blew my mind. When do you think the last time that Cleveland won a game in Pittsburgh?
At Pittsburgh.
At Pittsburgh.
You
You can give me a quarterback or a year.
One hint.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the 90s? I'm going way back.
No.
Okay.
It's not the 90s. That'd be hilarious.
Okay. So more recent.
It was
then.
after they came back into the league. So like this new Cleveland Browns, technically.
Okay, so
they came into the league in
2000s.
2000. Yeah.
Okay. 2007. I'm just throwing it out there.
That's a long time ago. That's a long time to not win. It was 2001, and it was Tim Couch was the quarterback.
Oh.
That was the last time they won a game in
Tim
Pittsburgh.
Couch.
Or it was either 2000 or 2001. So it's like been 25 years since they won a game in Pittsburgh. That's just awful. That is so bad.
It's a division rival you're supposed to be rivaling and competing with.
Not Cleveland. Not those years.
But no, I mean, besides Myles Garrett, it's just that, Jameis Winston, he can throw touchdowns, but he also throws the same amount of interceptions.
Right.
He's also not the worst quarterback in the league.
And we love him here at JTV. Everybody here's a fan of him. So, we want the best for him. But, Deshaun Watson, that whole situation.
He's going to be eating his W's and his way to 39 interceptions
his
next
crab
year. Legs.
Yeah. Big fan of crab legs.
In them crab legs and riding a bike in New Orleans with a microphone.
Singing R. Kelly.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
But no, I mean, should he start next year? Yes.
Talking about Watson or Jameis?
Jameis.
Oh, okay.
No, not Deshaun Watson. I don't think we'll ever see Deshaun Watson again, to be honest with you. That's a hot take. You had a hot take earlier, so.
All right.
There's more. We haven't even heard any news about, the case with him and what's going to happen with him. Like, it's almost, he's like nowhere to be found. You know what I mean?
And probably for good reason.
Right. But Myles Garrett will maybe be on the move. Maybe Max Crosby. I think Debo will actually be on a new team. Who knows what they're actually going to do with Devontae Adams. I think you think Devontae is also waiting on Aaron Rodgers before he does anything?
This bromance between those two. I don't know.
Well, it's like Rodgers with Randall Cobb.
Yeah, I mean, my gut tells me Aaron Rodgers doesn't play football again, so I don't know.
You mentioned that earlier. We had our discussion, and you said you don't think he's done. You think he's done?
I don't think he thinks he's done, but I think all 32 teams are going to make it so that he's done. Is going to be my.
But I don't see why. I just talked about it on the show last week. You look at his numbers. You look at some of the good highlights from last year. He's Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean?
I don't think any of the teams want baggage. The baggage that comes with him. The appearances on the Pat McAfee show that come with him. The appearances on Joe Rogan's podcast that come with him. I think.
But who cares about that? No, I get it.
A lot owners and GMs care about that. Coaches, not necessarily. I mean, Aaron Glenn said that immediately. Was one of the first things he heard when he became a Jet was just, you are not going to be on Pat McAfee's show if you're still here.
Well, he needs to worry about the football team and the organization that's a dump there. And he shouldn't be worried about Pat McAfee. He needs to worry about actually winning games again, which is what they should have been doing all along. Look, there was baggage with him in Green Bay the whole time he was there.
Not as bad as it is here. This last one was worse, I feel like.
Sure.
And of course, playing for New York also has a thing with that as well.
That's a part of it, too. Number one, he's playing for New York. It's it's just like you play in the LA market or Boston. It's that big city thing. You know what I mean?
Right, but I still think the baggage that comes with him, that's going to lead teams to not pick him.
Well,
And
the
I think it
baggage
could
is
be-
worse now. I agree with you. But there was some baggage in Green Bay because him and Mike McCarthy didn't get along. They didn't like each other.
Right, but he
and
wasn't-
him and Matt LaFleur didn't. Like, there was some baggage with him in Green Bay, and he played there for 18 years.
It wasn't political baggage, and I think that political baggage is completely different than, oh, he might not be the best teammate. Oh, he's getting into some fights and some disagreements with head coaches. I feel
that
like that's
started
just football.
in the end of the Green Bay
It did, but
era, that COVID year. Oh, I had COVID. I
for
didn't
sure.
have COVID.
It definitely started, but I think it escalated times 10 with the Jets, and now it's coming down from its peak, but it's still pretty high up there. So I feel like a team has to be totally prepared to take on that, and I just don't believe there's another team right now, maybe other than the Raiders, just because it's Vegas and it's the Raiders. Raiders always do crap like that, so it could be. They could.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think there's a team who, is just gonna go, okay, you want to play here? Okay, well, I'd be happy to have you. I don't think there's also gonna be a team that, besides the Jets, that would have the balls to tell them, listen, you're going to come here and you're going to play football, because that's never is what happened in his career. There's not going to be a team that's going to, if he goes there and they're just going to tell him, you're going to shut up, you're going to play football, and you're going to focus on winning games. There's going to be no baggage. There's going to be none of this. There's going to be none of that. But that's just, I said it last week on the show too, and I stand by it. It's not just New York headlines in New York media. It's just media also, creates some of these headlines. Aaron Rodgers is a bad this. Aaron Rodgers is a bad that. So,
I don't doubt that they do.
That adds to it. And there's people who are dumb enough to actually believe those headlines. You watch the Aaron Rodgers documentary, you watch other videos about him, and there's teammates, especially Green Bay, the good years we had with Driver and Greg Jennings and Randall Cobb and them. They'll tell you Aaron Rodgers is one of the best teammates and one of the best guys they've ever known.
Yeah, I mean, they said the same thing about a lot of players that have had problems in the past, though. There's a lot of players that, because you want to go out and say he's a good teammate and he's good this, good player, all that stuff, but it doesn't get rid of perception. And I think that in an entertainment league, which is what the NFL really kind of is, unfortunately, it's all about entertainment. At least that's how Goodell sees it. That they might not want to put that bad publicity out there, and Goodell might just make a phone call to 32 other teams and just say, I don't think you guys really need to sign Aaron Rodgers. If you know what I mean, wink, wink.
It's a totally different baggage. I know we're running out of time here real quick, but I know it's a whole nother political baggage situation here, so I'm not fully comparing the two. But at the time, the talent that Colin Kaepernick still had, the talent and how good he still was, when he essentially got thrown out of the league. That's what happened. He got thrown out of the league.
And
you know
why?
What I mean?
Why did he get thrown out of the league? Because of baggage. Because of the political implications of bringing him on.
Real political
and
implications.
And what it would mean and the hoopla that it would present when he joins the team. I just think that it's the exact same thing. And what was it, last show or the show before when we brought this up, I said, and somebody else I'm referring to, that was the guy I was referring to. It's Kaepernick, right? I feel like it's the exact same thing, just totally on the opposite ends of the political spectrum.
Right. But what's funny is that a bunch of players did the same thing Kaepernick did after him.
But he wasn't the poster child of it. There's got to be one poster child for something like that.
Oh, right.
For him,
I've said that too before, but it's who is the poster child of it, who starts it is who's gonna is who's gonna get thrown
Doesn't
out.
matter that other players joined in or other players. I think it's just once you attach a name to it, that is then the person kind of almost running it. It's
right.
It's crazy.
And you never know what could happen to any player because we're all human. things could happen. There could be potential baggage with anybody. There could be more baggage with Jamison Williams. I'm just throwing random players out there who could have potentially more baggage. Now, that's nothing compared to Aaron Rodgers or Colin Kaepernick, but the talent, not even politically, just the talent that Colin Kaepernick had, and then same thing there, just Aaron Rodgers now, the talent he still has.
At what age?
Aaron Rodgers is 41.
Do you take any of that? And I know we got to wrap soon, but do you take any of that into consideration?
I think any team would do a 1-year deal anyways.
See, I just don't know. Like, I just don't
and
know
if something happens,
if it's willing to.
It's a 1-year thing. You're done with him.
It's not like
he's going to retire.
It's not like you're taking a chance on a 26-year-old that's going to ball out. Like, you have to be in a win now mode if you're going to take him. You're not going to take him if you're rebuilding, because what's the point? You're going to want to win now. And how many teams right now are in win now other than the Jets that need a quarterback?
Well, I think the Steelers need a piece, even if it's a 1-year thing with Rodgers, to help set them up, and maybe a few other, big money players will come because they want to play, with a first ballot Hall of Famer like Aaron Rodgers, and then that kind of snowballs and gets them rolling. So
we'll keep an eye out and see.
We'll see. When we come back, we'll wrap up with Michigan State's huge win over number 13 Purdue on Tuesday, and we'll tell you what's coming up on Monday's show, so stay tuned. Welcome back here on JTV. Really quick thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency and Pataki Orthodontics and Minuteman Sewer and Drain, Southern Michigan Bank and Trust, all of our great sponsors. Had a great high school sports season so far, so thank you to all of them.
Yeah, and I meant to tell you, Mark Konopacki told me to tell you hi.
Really?
Yep. And he maybe said something else, but I'll tell you that part after off the air. But he did say hi.
I know it's something we can't say on TV.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. So thanks to Mark and Chris and the Minuteman and M&K team. So Michigan State Tuesday night. I know you guys were at Concord, but before I watched the second half of the Port and Concord, I watched most of the Michigan State Purdue game. And it was close till about halfway through the second half, and Michigan State did what Michigan State's been doing, and they pulled away. So Michigan State with a big win by double digits over number 13 Purdue Tuesday night. Chrysler Friday night, 8 o'clock on Fox. Number 12, Michigan. Number 14, MSU. Tied in the same conference record atop the Big Ten. And they haven't played each other yet, and it's late in the year. So they're going to play each other again in 2 weeks, too. Right before you got to keep winning and surviving in the Big Ten tournament. So just a brutal, coming up for both Michigan and Michigan State. So really interested. And, we don't have a live game here Thursday or Friday night, so I'll definitely be watching Michigan State.
Me too. That's the biggest game of the year for college basketball for us here. So
yeah, times two.
Times two. We get it twice, and who knows? Maybe even in the Big Ten championship game. We don't know.
Yeah, depending on how the seeding shakes out. If they're both 1 and 2, they'll line up and play on Sunday.
That'd be cool.
And then Michigan gets a number 1 seed in the NCAA. No, they're not going to be number 1 seed.
Yeah, I don't want that. I'd rather us just kind
right now they're projected as a 4.
Yeah, I like that. I think a good 4 or 5 seed makes me feel good.
Yeah, and you got to kind of, obviously you don't want to lose, or even worse, lose on purpose. But I feel like more people or more coaches than we think look at those projections and go, okay, right now we're at a 4 or 5 seed. We line up against these certain 10 to 11 teams that are in that 11 to 12 seed range that a 5 would play, and go, okay, this is what it would look like right now to get to the top. Versus if we're a 1 seed, sure, we play a 16 and then maybe a 10 and a 7 seed. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like more coaches look at that than we think. Maybe even at the high school level too. Not throwing anything out there, but looking forward to that Friday night. So, and then Saturday I'll be at Spring Arbor again for the Girls Cascades Championship. So we'll have coming up on Monday's show. We'll have the highlights from that on episode 52 Monday. So we'll have highlights and post-game interviews from the Saturday championship. the all-conference players. We'll have the bowling and competitive cheer regionals results. And Monday, it's playoff time in high school basketball. The boys basketball districts kick off on Monday night. And Matt Lehman talked a little bit about, you can watch the replay of the full game again this weekend coming up on JTV, but Matt Lehman talked about, because Matt Kibbe had asked him what goes into hosting a district and how fun is that for a school, especially one of the best small town gyms like Concord is, to be able to host. So I will be watching the full broadcast again.
Nice. And it's on JTV Sports YouTube as well, so you can watch the full game. Oh,
that's right. I forgot about it. Yeah, it is on there as well. So thanks to Minuteman, thanks to the Insurance Circle Agency, and thanks to Pataki Orthodontics. So wherever you are watching and listening, we do appreciate it. So have a great weekend. Go Blue, go Tigers. Spring training starts this weekend.
Go Tigers.
And the Four Nations face-off Thursday.
USA.
Yep. And we will talk to you Monday. So thanks for watching.